How are we doing on time?
We actually have time for maybe 3 or 4 more questions.
Time for 3 or 4 more. Okay, because I know you all have a lot to do. I don't mean that facetiously. There's a lot going on. This is a huge convention. I mean, wow. Okay. Yeah. My only issue, you work here, right? You're the brochure. You really put Leonard Nimoy, you stuck him in with everybody else. He didn't get his own page. He didn't even get a bigger picture. Leonard Nimoy, I'm like, where's the, what? I literally had to find it. He's in the ends. I'm like, it's Leonard Nimoy. All right, sorry, nerd angry moment over. Go on.
Hi, I heard in the summer you're working with Deadliest Warrior to do vampires versus zombies.
Yeah, it was awesome. We did, it was me and Steve Niles, and Matt Moak from the Zombie Research Society. It's so ironic because Matt Moak, he's just finished a book about zombies, and it's really freaking good. He asked me to blurb it, so I literally just read it over the weekend, and I wrote him a blurb, and because he's such a cool guy, like he's genuinely into it. I think this is the thing with zombies is people are just starting to cash in, and people are just doing zombies because it's popular. But like Matt is the man. Matt is so into it, and I can't wait to talk to him. So it was me and Matt on one side, and it was Steve Niles and Scott, who looks like Christian Slater, that's all I'm going to say, on the vampire side. He wrote the Vampire Survival Guide. And it was vampires versus zombies. And Deadliest Warrior, they really got into it. Like, we did real tests of how they would behave with one another. We really talked about different strategies, different tactics, different psychologies of combat. And it was, I mean, I'm sorry, but other than like taking the Pegasus and to attack 2 Cylon base stars at the same time, I think that's pretty much my ultimate nerd fantasy.
My question was, who would you think would win, vampires or zombies?
It's an excellent question. I think on a tactical level, 1 zombie versus 1 vampire, it's no competition. You know, if one little African soldier ant came up to me, and I'd be like, gone. If 1,000,000 came up to me, I think it all depends on the situation. You know, maybe because they don't tell you. They have you record 2 different endings because they don't tell you until the end because they still have to run the simulations. So basically, they have us go in a room by ourselves and you do 2 recordings. And the first one you're just like, oh yeah, of course we won. Oh my God, it's no competition. And then they have you record again where you go, man, I can't believe that. That is bull. And then you sort of do what everyone in Deadliest Warrior does. If they lose, they go, well, in the real world, which is kind of lame because we're talking zombies and vampires. So we may be the first ones that if we actually do lose, yeah, anyway. But I don't know. I think it all depends on the situation.
Leak it on YouTube for us.
Leak it? I don't know. What am I going to leak? Okay, go on YouTube and you'll see me doing this. I just wrote a short story called The Extinction Parade, which is on dailybeast.com. It's free, don't worry about it. And I finished it the day before we started shooting Deadliest Warrior. Because I was like, oh my God, I gotta finish this before I get on there. And it is vampires versus zombies. And it's literally a zombie play told from the point of view of vampires. Where vampires are like, oh, wait a minute. What are we going to eat? I always call it, it's an inconvenient truth, but with vampires. Next person.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. What's that outfit?
I'm Malcolm Reynolds.
Nice. I knew that.
What type of zombie would you not want to come after you?
Okay, what kind of cancer would you not want to get?
Oh, like the runners or the slow walkers or...
I don't want any of them. Maybe the one, you know which ones I would want to come after me? Because it would go, more brains. And I would go, oh, wait, here's a pen. Here's a better script. And then they would die. I mean, the fast versus slow, to me, is the difference between fear and anxiety. You know, and they're equally scary. And this is something that most of you Gentiles don't understand. We Jews talk about this stuff a lot. Here's the difference. Fear is immediate. All right? Fear is in your face. Fear is a threat. Fear is, oh my God, there's a tarantula. That's fear.
I like tarantulas.
She likes tarantulas.
What? It's true. I like them. They make good pets.
I know. Wrong convention to talk about that. Okay. How about this? Oh my God, I'm about to fall out of a plane without a parachute. That's fear. Oh my God. This is anxiety. I don't want to get on that plane. What if I fall out? Oh my God. Well, do you know you're going to fall out? I don't know. Fear is the fast zombie. Oh my God, here it comes. Shoot it, shoot it, shoot it! Anxiety is the slow zombie. Do you hear them? I know they're around. How much food we got? How much water we got? I know they're coming closer. Oh my God, I wish I believed in God. Fear and anxiety. Next person.
Hi, in 1999, I was writing my master's thesis, comparing rhetorical strategies with slave narrative novels and slave narratives. So, simple question. Why an oral narrative and not a novel?
Why an oral narrative and not a novel? For me, oh my God, smart question. Not to say the other ones weren't, but this is heavy stuff. She has like a master's degree. Okay, master. Well, I did it because for me, it was a way of telling as many stories as I could, but still making it human. Because I found sometimes if you read a novel that skips around too much, it feels disingenuous. It feels like you're trying too hard to cram it all in. Whereas with Studs Terkel's The Good War, that was perfect.
Right.
You know, so I literally just used his template exactly.
Okay.
You know, some were big interviews, some were small interviews, just like in his stuff. And I'd also since then had read a lot of oral histories.
Okay.
So I took it from that point of view.
Okay. Great. I loved it. It's my favorite.
Thank you
book.
very much.
Thanks.
How are we doing on time? What? 5 minutes.
So one, maybe two
No
more
pressure.
questions.
Oh, hi, I was looking for the audiobook for a while after I heard about it, because I figured it's a series of interviews, so it'd be interesting to hear the people being interviewed. And looked for a long time for an unabridged version, didn't find one.
No, there isn't one. There isn't one.
No, my library said there was one, it turned out to be abridged.
No. Yeah, let me just explain something. I did an audio version of World War Z because I'm really into audiobooks. Here's something you should know about me. I grew up on audiobooks because I'm actually very dyslexic. And for those of you who don't know what that means, good for you, because it really sucks. It's a learning disability. And school was really, really hard for me. And my mom, what she did, she's the reason that I'm standing up here and that I'm not like a heroin addict, is because she took all my school books every year and took them to the Institute for the Blind and had them transcribed onto audiobooks. So I would listen to all my reading lists every year in high school. So that sort of became my way of learning. So I've always been into audiobooks since then. I love them, I listen to them all the time. And so when it came time to write World War Z, when it was done, and they said, well, we want to do an audiobook. I said, okay, please, don't just hire like one guy who can do a bunch of voices. Because they do that in audiobooks. And that's fine. But I was like, I also used to do cartoon voices. So I said, I have some contacts in that world. Let me reach out to some of these agents and see who I can get. So I did, and I wrote some letters to people, and some people actually said yes. Now the reason that we didn't do unabridged is because they have to pay people every time. You know what I mean? There's a reason they always have one guy with a bunch of voices. Oh no, here they come. They are? Yes, they are, comrade. Oh my goodness! It's because that one guy gets one check. As opposed to in that one where they had to pay all those, and it's really expensive for a publishing house to do that. So that's why. That's why. I mean, I'd love for them to do unabridged.
Okay. You actually also answered the other question I was going to ask. About whether you got to pick the people playing it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I reached out to them. I mean, look, obviously I cheated with, like, Carl Reimer. For those of you who don't know, he's, like, my uncle, basically. And Alan to as like a close family friend. But even Alan Alda was like, look, I love you like a son, but this is zombies. I have to read this first. So I sent it to him, and he read it. He goes, wow, this is actually really good. I'd be honored to do it. But people like Henry Rollins, I wrote to him, and Mark Hamill. And this is actually something that my mother taught me, which is if you ever meet somebody famous and you want to compliment their work, try to find something that they did as a labor of love that isn't as popular as their other stuff, and compliment them on that. Like my mom always said, when she met Kubrick, she didn't say, I love 2001. She said, I love Barry Lyndon. So I wrote him a letter, Mark Hamill. I didn't say, I love you, Luke Skywalker, or even the Joker on Batman. I said, you were in a movie called The Big Red One. It was a World War II movie in which he goes through an amazing character arc at the end. And I wrote to him and said, if you could define the character of Todd Wainio in my book, it's that guy 20 years later talking about his experiences. And I think that's why he agreed to do it. So I hope that answers all your questions.
Thank you.
One more?
I just found your book. I never actually read it. I couldn't afford it. But
you can get them in libraries. I mean, there's still time. We still have libraries now.
Libraries.
They may get closed, believe me.
It's they're redesigning the library. But I'm that guy who's always criticizing movies, especially zombie movies.
Really? I wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah. Well, really quick. Why is it in most movies zombies don't actually eat anybody? And afterwards, can I take a photo with you?
Sure.
All right.
Here's the deal. Why do they never actually eat anybody? Well, in some they do. Did you see the original Dawn of the Dead? Those are real pig's guts they're using. Whoa. I mean, in other movies, there's just so much gore you can show, which is not that big of a deal. I mean, this is America. So, I mean, we don't care about gore and violence. We care about boobies and bad words. That's literally how we rate our movies. And afterwards, I'll be signing, after this is over, I'll be down at the Avatar booth. And yeah, come on down and we'll take a picture and we'll find your shoes. He has no shoes. All right, one last question. Yeah, the guy from the White Stripes, you come up.
Thank you. I want to know how on hand do you keep anti-zombie weapons?
Oh, okay. People ask me this all the time, like, do you have a zombie defense kit? Yeah, I do. It's called my earthquake survival kit. See, here's the thing about, here's why I think the Zombie Survival Guide has done well. And I think it's because I used real survival methods. I mean, the thing about a zombie outbreak is it's really just a natural disaster. And to survive a zombie outbreak, maybe like 2% of it is actually killing the zombies. The rest is things like purifying water and finding food to eat and keeping dry socks and keeping good hygiene and not worrying about disease and keeping your morale up. These are all things you have to do in a very real disaster. So yeah, I mean, I based Zombie Survival Guide on reality, and the core of it was my own earthquake survival training. You know, people in New York after 9/11, we were all running around talking about becoming like first responders. I grew up in LA. We're all first responders. We have no government services in LA. When something happens, you're totally on your own in LA. So that was my childhood, was literally like earthquake drills and going through the earthquake kit and being like, oh, this is expired, and having an earthquake plan with the family. Like, well, if you're at school, meet us at this building, or if you're at home, we go to this point in the house. So, I mean, all of that training made up the core of my life. And then in LA, we also have fun stuff like floods and fires, and every now and then Rodney King gets his ass beat by the cops, and the whole country rises up. So, zombie survival, honestly, is just disaster preparedness, but with zombies. We out of time? Everybody listen. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. This is great.